Idiot leftist pregnant women taking too much Tylenol are now dying. This story is unfreaking believable, but it is absolutely 1,000% real. These people have lost their minds. Hillary's still trying to be relevant. It's not working. Oh, Hill, it's time to give it up. It's just you're the only one who doesn't know that. And finally, there is some good news in the ostrich story. Thank goodness. We'll tell you about it coming up. Welcome to the Jay Sheldon Show. That's me. We are live on X and Rumble. And, of course, you can also hit that join button, the little red one over here somewhere, and that will get you into Rumble's Locals, which is also part of Rumble. And we have a brand new show over there called After Hours. It doesn't run every day. We did one this morning, I should say. And it's kind of an after hours kickback. We cover some stories that we didn't do on the show, things we're not quite prepared to talk about yet, but we'll talk about them anyway. And it's a cool look, a little behind the scenes. It's same set, same setup, but it's after hours, so it's private and it's members only. And if you join up over there, you can make a one-time contribution or a monthly donation and become a member. Join at Locals. All right. So, the biggest healthcare heist in American history. What if I told you that cartels, bad actors from around the world, conspired to undermine the integrity of our healthcare system right here in the good old US of A? And they came very close to succeeding. If you didn't hear about the bust of 324 people, the US-based cartel shell medical supply companies, the pill mills pushing opioids, the doctors on the take, and how law enforcement captured many of these bad guys at the U.S. border and airports as they were trying to escape. You didn't hear that story, did you? Well, that is understandable. The feds revealed this potential $14.6 billion depth charge planted inside the Medicaid, Medicare, private insurance programs back in June. Most people away on summer vacation, not spending a lot of time paying attention to the news, and completely missed it. Criminals go where the money is, Acting Health and Human Services Inspector General Juliet Hodgkins said in a news conference about the largest healthcare fraud takedown in American history. The more than $1.4 trillion spent by these government programs a year, per year. And the bad guys have tried by hook or crook, and even with the aid of AI, to set in motion plans to steal nearly $15 billion. They got away with just shy of $3 billion before they got caught. Other frauds frozen in their tracks. Now, if this bust looks to you like it had Elon Musk's old Doge associated with it, you would be right. Using AI and law enforcement tactics, the Doge team worked with HHS, Center for Medical and Medicare, an all-hands-on-deck array of federal agents from the DEA, the FBI, healthcare agencies to track down all these fraud leads. Dr. Mehmet Oz, head of the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services. As a result, the feds setting up a healthcare data fusion center to detect where these fraud spikes were occurring in real time. Oz told reporters back in June, Doge is involved. The president's been very clear. He wants this fraud, waste, and abuse crushed. And that is the word he used. DOGE, not just about cutting waste and fraud within the government. It's been actively involved in CMS and helping us address places where fraud is existing that we never thought to look. Oz said these bad guys are sophisticated, use state-of-the-art methods to rip off the government programs blind. That's how we're attacked now. This is Oz. It's not done by small-time operators. You're hearing about, and what you're going to read about, organized syndicates designed to hurt America. Why? Well, CMS is probably the largest target of all, responsible for about $1.7 trillion of disbursements. It is a big target on our side, and they can pierce the veil of protection by just getting identifier numbers from our seniors or Medicaid recipients or others. According to the Department of Justice, overseas cartel thieves set up a very sophisticated network of medical supply companies that submitted more than $10 billion in fraudulent health care claims to Medicare. The bad guys used stolen identities. At least 1 million of Americans found in data breaches sold on the dark web, and that made the reimbursement requests more believable. It's not clear if the thieves used the unique Medicare and Medicaid identifying numbers to steal the money. Musk, who stepped away from the White House after he had a bit of a rift with Trump, is the one who conceived and executed this whole DOGE project. And he is a damned American hero for it, I'm telling you. We give that guy a medal for saving American taxpayers more billions of dollars. So they have arrested over 300 individuals involved in this scheme. Unbelievable. Plans to steal nearly $15 billion. Not anymore. You done been caught, morons. Good morning, Danny. Almost missed it. Good morning. Piecing together a Stranger Things scene for the kids' outdoor Halloween this year. I have a Vecna morph suite. What? What the hell is a Vecna morph suite? Does anyone have any idea what to stuff it with? I wouldn't know what that is. Something that won't mold or flatten with the rain. Styrofoam? I don't know. I don't know what a Vecna morph suite is. I'm not sure I want to know. It's all right. You seen the latest? These freaking idiots, I swear to God. Pregnant women. When Donald Trump came out during his press conference with Kennedy, the Secretary of Health and Human Services, and among the many things, and he did not just talk about Tylenol or acetaminophen. We covered it yesterday. He talked about childhood vaccinations, all kinds of stuff. But the one the people picked up on was the Tylenol thing, acetaminophen. Of course, the left went nuts, so much so that some of them now are dead or dying. And no, I'm not kidding. I am serious as a heart attack. Pregnant liberals took so much Tylenol after hearing Trump say it causes autism in children. One woman is now in the ICU with liver failure, and there is nothing that can be done. She is going to die. They're making videos of themselves, showing their big pregnant bellies, and downing tons of Tylenol. This is twisted beyond belief. Trump derangement syndrome, folks, is a terrible thing. You idiots who get infected by it often harm themselves, in this case, potentially even putting their unborn babies at risk, just to prove to the world that they defy the president and everything he stands for. In the latest trend of absurd lefty Trump derangement thinking, pregnant women suffering from TDS, filming themselves downing Tylenol, which is the most popular brand name for the generic acetaminophen. The administration said Tuesday it may be dangerous to the fetus and may be a factor in the stunning rise we've seen in autism. Well, then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you almost kind of expect it, this bullshit starts to happen. You see what I'm talking about? And that's, believe me, just one. Imagine possibly endangering the life of your future child just to make a political point. This is not just Trump derangement syndrome. This is Trump depravity syndrome. Students for Trump, just stick it to, this is an ex post, just stick it to Trump and RFK Jr., liberal women who are pregnant, posting videos on social media of them downing Tylenol. Let's see what we get here.
For my headache while pregnant because I don't take my medical advice from a man who doesn't have a degree in science, healthcare, or medicine, and who had a parasitic brain infection and was addicted to heroin for 14 years. Yeah, I'll trust my doctors who have their degree.
Absolutely unbelievable. And yes, Danny, you are absolutely 100% right. Child abuse. Among the many other things, child abuse with some jail time is exactly what these asses need. Now, it does not look like they need any Tylenol. They're doing it for clicks. They're also doing it and potentially harming their unborn baby. What kind of a mother are you going to be? Some of these women have gone so far as to take so much Tylenol, they've wound up with liver failure. One of them reported here is going to die. The doctors have said you have no chance. You will die. There's just one problem with these potentially dangerous antics. They think they're sticking their finger in Trump's eye and Kennedy's eye, but they are also flouting the manufacturer's own recommendation. So many doctors on X prescribing or recommending pregnant women continue to take Tylenol during pregnancy. Doctors, by the way, in inverted commas. This company has made it clear for years they do not recommend it for women who are pregnant. Here it is. Look at this. From Tylenol itself. We actually don't recommend using any of our products while pregnant. Thank you for taking the time to voice your concerns. Tylenol's tweet with that recommendation still up on X right at this very moment. Unbelievable. Fox contributor Dr. Nicole Sapphire summed it up, saying, pregnant women popping Tylenol like Tic Tacs just to stick it to Trump, please stop. Don't weaponize your pregnancy for a political point. Consider acetaminophen only when absolutely necessary, for the shortest duration at the lowest dose. Consider acetaminophen only when necessary. Is it a little rationality? Could we have maybe just a small little slice of normalcy? Is that too much to ask? Apparently, for those suffering from this TDS bullcrap, the answer is yes, that's too much to ask. Absolutely insane, these women. And they do not understand what they are putting their infants through. This is the woman, by the way, who has taken so much Tylenol. She is now in the ICU, and she's going to die. Executive Director of Frontline Nurses got a frantic call at 4 a.m. from a husband whose wife is now dying of liver failure on a ventilator in an ICU because she was trying to prove that Tylenol doesn't cause autism because of what Trump said. Whether or not you believe the Harvard study, that's not the issue here. The issue is that she is somewhere between 23 and 25 weeks pregnant, and she has overdosed on Tylenol, and she is going to die.
Finally. And for those of you who don't follow me on Twitter, I recommend that you do. I got a call, a very frantic call at 4 o'clock in the morning from a husband whose wife is now dying of liver failure on a ventilator in an ICU because she was trying to prove that Tylenol doesn't cause autism because of what Trump said on the news. Mind you, that's a Harvard study. Now, whether or not you believe the Harvard study or not is not the issue here. The issue is that she's somewhere between 23 to 25 weeks and she overdosed on Tylenol. And she's going to die. She's not going to come off that ventilator. And the guy got my phone number from somebody. Somebody gave it to him. I mean, guys, it's early in the morning. I'm still in Hello Kitty sweatpants in my gym trying to work out. And she's going to die. It's going to be, let me tell you something about Tylenol overdosing and death, is that if you aren't administered the antidote, it is a very slow and painful death, okay? Because Tylenol, as well as Benadryl and aspirin, are the 3 most common OTCs that people will typically try to unalive themselves with, so I don't get censored. But now people are just taking massive amounts of Tylenol to prove Trump wrong. I mean, weren't these the same people who put Harvard and Fauci and the pillars of science on a pedestal? And now they refuse to believe it. Like, I don't believe it either. But I'm also not going to go overdose on Tylenol either. And it's just so sad because he has to make the choice of them going and trying to emergency deliver this baby. And the baby may not survive. The baby's going to spend a long time in the NICU. Hopefully the baby will survive. And remember, guys, preemies have complications even if they do survive. I didn't ask him if he had more children. So, I mean, let's say this woman they had more children. They lost their mother. Baby's not going to grow up with the mom. He lost his whole life if this baby dies too. All because of TikTok challenges, guys. Everybody wants, like, well, not everybody, but maybe these crazy liberal women. They, like, literally hate Trump so bad that she killed herself and her baby, potentially.
There are no words. There are people who would say, and I don't necessarily disagree with them, that these women got what they deserved. However, their unborn child in their womb did not deserve any of this. That's what we have to focus on. That is the most selfish, inhumane act I could possibly think of at this point. Unbelievable. How about some good news? The ostriches, for the moment in Canada, have been saved. Yep. The ostrich farm owner, Katie Passitney, and Karen Esperson, Universal Ostrich Farm in Edgewood, British Columbia, arrested September 23rd by RCMP for refusing to vacate during the enforcement of a Canadian Food Inspection Agency order to kill nearly 400 ostriches amidst a resolved 2024 avian flu outbreak. A local First Nations band, like our Native Americans here in the U.S., intervened the next day. They issued a cease and desist order based on what they say are Indigenous stewardship rights over the unceded territory. Canada's Supreme Court granted an interim stay on September 24th, just yesterday, pausing this cull pending review of the farm's appeal. The agency retains custody of the birds, but the Supreme Court in Canada has said, hold on a minute. We're going to find out what's going on, and hopefully, we pray that all will be good with the Canadian ostriches. That is some good news. Glad to hear it. Yeah, doctors used to say a glass of wine a day was okay too. You know, a glass of wine a day is not a bad idea, and I know a lot of people do recommend it. However, when you're pregnant, things change. Again, not sure you want to take that chance. It's alcohol entering your body. Anything that enters your body enters your baby's. Look, you're adults. You know this crap. I don't have to lecture you about that. Come on. Seriously. But they don't care. They are so infected with just go. If Trump said oxygen was good for you, they would hold their breath until they passed out. Idiots. Holy crap, what did J.D. Vance do? Oh my God. He just absolutely unleashed on the Democrats. Shall I let him say it himself? This is well worth your time. Vance speaking out in North Carolina.
And I think that is the most disgusting thing. The very people who keep us safe ought to be honored and protected and praised by Democrats and Republicans alike. It is time to stop the rhetorical assault on law enforcement. Because here's what happens. Because here's what happens when Democrats, like Gavin Newsom did, say that these people are part of an authoritarian government. When the left-wing media lies about what they're doing, when they lie about who they're arresting, when they lie about the actual job of law enforcement, what they're doing is encouraging crazy people to go and commit violence. You don't have to agree with my immigration policies. You don't have to agree with Donald Trump's immigration policies. But if your political rhetoric encourages violence against our law enforcement, you can go straight to hell, and you have no place in the political conversation of the United States of America.
Bada bing, bada boom. You can go straight to hell. Number 48, you think? Could be. Could be. You know, I saw something earlier last night on X, I think it was, that said Charlie Kirk was on the path to becoming the youngest president we've ever had, and that the idea of a battle between Charlie Kirk and J.D. Vance would be a most interesting one, and I think they were right. It would indeed be a most interesting one. Man, a Shevitz, I'm telling you. All right, it is time for you to switch up your mobile service provider. You know why? Because the money you're spending on whoever you're using right now, a portion of that gets donated to causes on the left, things that we do not want to support. There is one way to make sure that doesn't happen, and that's with America's only Christian conservative wireless provider, Patriot Mobile.
When you choose Patriot Mobile, you're not just picking a wireless provider. You're choosing a company that shares your values. It's easy to switch, and you can keep your number, your phone, and most importantly, your values. With Patriot Mobile, you get the power of nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks. That means wherever life takes you, we've got you covered on the same reliable networks you already know and trust. And when you need us, we're here for you right here at home. Our customer service is 100% US-based because we believe that support should come from people who understand you and your values. At Patriot Mobile, you're not just another call, you're a priority. In today's world, where you spend your money matters more than ever, every dollar is a vote for the kind of future you want to build. Join the thousands of Americans making a difference with every call, every text, and every connection. Choose a company that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
You see? That is exactly why you need to put your money where your mouth is and your money where your convictions are. And support, get signed up with Patriot Mobile today. Use patriotmobile.com/J, J-A-Y. And when you use that link, you get a free month. Yep, your first month is on me, whatever package you choose, and they have a lot of different ones there. If you're currently under a contract with your internet provider, don't worry about it. They will help you, and they have workarounds for that. The customer service is there to put you into the right plan for your needs, not to upsell you on some crap you do not need. PatriotMobile.com/J. A bunch of our viewers and listeners have made the switch. They report they could not be happier. It was a simple process. Keep your phone, keep your number. Everything stays the same, and the money you are paying monthly to this company, well, when they do make donations, they go to our conservative Christian valued companies and organizations. PatriotMobile.com/J. Thank you, Patriot Mobile, for being a part of the show, and thank you for making the switch. Just another example of the absolute lunatics we are dealing with. You want to be careful, MAGA, because when all hell breaks loose and the shit hits the fan, don't forget, according to this moron, all the blue states control the water.
MAGA, don't you understand? If we have another civil war, all the blue states will control all the fresh water. You guys don't think this shit through, do you? MAGA, don't you understand? If we have another...
Okay, don't you understand? We control all the guns. And secondly, you don't control all the fresh water. I'm pretty sure there's plenty of fresh water in all the red states, too. That's how deranged these freaks are. Just had to include that one moronic woman in there because it's just a good example of exactly the kind of crazies we're dealing with. Nut jobs. Like Hillary Clinton, speaking of crazy nut jobs. Hillary does not understand. Her days are done. Her political career is over. No one cares about what she has to say. No one would ever vote for her again for dog catcher. And yet she just cannot keep away from a camera. Now Hillary is warning against the rise of Christianity. Yeah. She says, white Christian men are causing such damage to the U.S. I'll tell you what, let this hag explain it herself.
We haven't gotten to the more perfect union, and we fought a civil war over part of it. And people have been protesting, for hundreds of years that, things were not as they should be, given our ideals and how we should be moving toward them. So I think that's what makes us so special as a country. And the idea that you could turn the clock back and try to recreate a world that never was, dominated by, let's say it, white men of a certain persuasion, a certain religion, a certain point of view, a certain ideology, is just doing such damage to what we should be aiming for. And we were on the path toward that. I mean, imperfectly, lots of, bumps along the way, but I agree with you, we were on the right trajectory.
Would you look at this woman? She is definitely not holding up well. No amount of makeup or tucks. In fact, by the look of it, she hasn't had any tucks. It's all just sliding away with the ages. And what exactly is this crap? White Christian men? The biggest danger to America? Oh, Hillary, like I said in the beginning, it's really time that you woke up and realized your days are done. You've done enough damage, and that's been a lot. What difference at this point does it matter? Probably one of your better quotes. Oh, man. There are days when it just doesn't seem to pay to get up in the morning. Pete Hegseth doing his job. Great story here. Secretary Hegseth from the Department of War has eliminated one of the root causes of woke in the armed forces. He has disbanded a 75-year-old Defense Advisory Committee that, while problematic through most of the time it's existed, has mutated into a black hole of radical feminism. In a memo, Hegseth directed the formal disestablishment of the Defense Advisory Committee on Women in the Armed Services. Hegseth says, after further review, I've determined the reinstatement of the DAC for Women in Services should not proceed. He wrote in the memo addressed to the Undersecretary of Defense for Personnel and Readiness, the department's Advisory Committee Management Officer will terminate this program in accordance with the requirements of the Federal Advisory Committee Act, take appropriate action to realign resources. An announcement from the Department of War heralded this memo. Pete Hegseth has decided to terminate the DACWS, instituted back, believe it or not, in 1951. That's when this bullshit started. Secretary of Defense George C. Marshall, in order to provide advice and recommendation on matters and policies related to the recruitment, retention, employment, integration, well-being, and treatment of women in the armed forces. Now, over time, this committee's focus changed from ensuring women had the opportunity to serve to pushing women into special operations forces, submarines, worrying about how military women were portrayed in the media, what their breastfeeding policy would be. In short, it stopped being a way of advising leadership on how to ease the path for women in the armed forces into a whiny, mouthy little special interest group that tried to make the armed forces serve the needs of women instead of doing what it is trained to do and supposed to do and charged with doing: kill people. This is not the first rodeo for the dismantlement of this program. Bush briefly tried to shut down the organization back in 2002. But like a lot of what he tried to do, he never followed through on the plan. Anyone welcome to contribute to the extent they can, but standards must be high and rigid. This program ensured that these standards were flexible, creating maximum promotional opportunities for women. The first woman to graduate from Ranger School spent nearly 8 months in training and being eased through a 61-day course. The only purpose of pushing her through that course was to achieve a first. The Army didn't need a woman ranger. The feminists needed a scalp to take in their fight for equality. Women are no longer a novelty in the military, and they shouldn't be treated like that. The military does not exist to create opportunities for women to become general officers, which is exactly the approach this program has taken. Secretary Hegseth, correct. Our military needs to get back to focus on killing people and breaking things. Good on you, Pete. Now, having said that, there are women in the military, of course, hundreds of them, if not thousands, who serve with honor, with integrity. But these special programs like this one, way, way above and beyond. Well, Mr. Trump, the ball is in your court. He named Antifa as a terrorist group, and now in Oregon is your chance to treat it like one. Monday of this week, just a few days ago, Trump designated Antifa a domestic terrorist organization. 1 day later, Antifa members in Oregon assaulted a federal facility to protest ICE. Now is the moment, Mr. President. Now is the time to prove that your words have meaning. They're not just symbolic. They're not for the headlines. You said it because you mean it. Mean it. Act on it. If Antifa is a terror organization, then it is time to treat it like one. Members of Antifa surrounded a federal building in Eugene, Oregon to protest ICE. They posted up at the entrances and the exits, pounded on doors and windows. Sources say employees inside had to find other ways to get out. Federal law enforcement sources said there had been at least one assault. For years, Antifa, the terrorists, have threatened and assaulted American cities, American towns. In Portland, domestic terrorists waged a violent campaign against the city. Terrorists launched assaults using mortar-style fireworks. You remember that? Lasers, which can cause permanent blindness. Idiot Jerry Nadler from New York, the Democrat old man who hopefully is done, called Antifa a myth. Calling these idiots, these terrorists, a myth is dangerous. And it just permits and allows more violence to happen. Which is why what Trump said about them being domestic terrorist organizations is all that more important. This should empower agencies to handle this violent group properly in accordance with law, but as domestic terrorists. Oregon is the test case. If Antifa can assault a federal building just one day after Trump orders them, designates them as domestic terrorists, and they have no consequences, well, then that declaration is nothing more than a very thin piece of paper. It would send a message that Antifa's intimidation and violence will no longer be tolerated if you act swiftly and boldly. It's got to happen. Make it so. Make it so. If you're a cop and you pull somebody over, you would expect a level of cooperation. I think I've been pulled over once in my whole life. And I had my driver's license and registration, proof of insurance ready to go, handed out the window. He gave me a verbal warning, and I was on my way. Thank you very much. Little cooperation, none of this entitlement. Well, sadly, these days, that doesn't happen very often. Look at this moron.
Good morning. I'm Officer Benavides with the Orlando Police Department. Do you have your driver's license, registration, and proof of insurance, please?
What is wrong with my...
I'm sorry?
What is wrong with my tag?
There's nothing wrong with your tag. May I see your driver's license, registration, and proof of insurance, please?
Why do I have to...
I need to see your driver's license, registration, and proof of insurance. This is a traffic stop. I need you to identify yourself. Yes, ma'am, it is.
I'm sorry, it's because I've been seeing a lot of news on the...
So the reason why I stopped you today is because your license is expired. Let me see your driver's license. Okay. Listen, if you refuse to identify yourself, I will take you to jail for resisting without violence. Either you identify yourself to me right now, or I'm taking you to jail. Okay. I go 4-3. Can I get a 45, please? Turn off your car. Turn off your car. Turn off your car. Turn off your car. If you call somebody to come to this traffic stop, they will also get arrested for impeding on a traffic stop. Don't do this.
I'll call my lawyer.
Do not do this right now.
I can call my lawyer.
I need to see your ID. The ID is in the back of your phone. I need to see your driver's license.
Sir, I'm a student. I'm an...
I don't care if you're a student. I need to see your driver's license, please. It's on the back of your phone.
It is, but I...
Okay, so I need to see your driver's license now, please.
I can call
Okay.
my lawyer,
All right. Put your hands up here.
No, sir. I have...
Put your hands on the steering wheel.
I have my driver's license.
Okay, put your hands on the steering wheel.
I have my...
Put your hands on the steering wheel. I'm going to do everything for you. Hands on the steering wheel.
I haven't done anything
This is
wrong.
the fifth time I tell you now.
But you have...
This is the fifth time I tell you. Put your hands on your steering wheel or you're going to get dragged out of the car. We can do this a simple way.
Why,
Okay.
What are you doing?
All right.
No, sir, please don't touch me.
Do not do this.
I'm just scared. I'm sorry.
I got you. Step out of the car.
I'm just scared.
Step out of the
I'm
car.
scared.
Step out of the car. We will pick everything up here in a second. Put your hands behind your back.
Can I call my lawyer, please?
No, you can't call your lawyer right now. I'm detaining you. Into the cuffs you go. Click, click, bye-bye. The entitlement of these people. Ignorance, not to be ignored. But this... Don't you understand? If you take a whole shitload of Tylenol when you're pregnant, It's going to affect you and your unborn child. If you don't just hand over your ID, which he is legally required and okayed to ask you for, it is going to lead to you being detained and possibly arrested. So, why would you do this bullshit? Why? I don't know. I don't know. Danny, the younger generation always thinks they can do whatever they want, the result of weak parenting. You are absolutely not wrong, my friend. Weak parenting is probably exactly what we are looking at here. All right. One more and we gotta go. You won't believe this one. You ever try to move a colony of bees? I know. Not something everybody gets to do or has a need to do. Most of the time we call an exterminator and they set the thing on fire and hopefully don't burn your house down or your front porch and get rid of the bees for you. Well, there is another way. As you know, with bees, they will follow the queen wherever that queen goes. So this young man, don't know where this video comes from, decided the best way to move this colony of bees was to hunt down and pick out the queen bee and then walk the queen bee in his hands to wherever they were going to set up the new hive. Yep, that is a guy with a queen bee in his hand and all those other bees, crawling up his arm. There's thousands of them. All because the queen bee is right there. And look at that, they're growing. They're attaching on. This is insane. Look at that. And kind of gross. Look at that. Okay. I've seen enough bugs and bees for today, okay? I gotta go. Hey, thanks. Be sure and hit the follow button whether you're on X, Rumble, or both. And be sure and check out our new Locals channel. It's over there. We've got exclusive members-only content. So far, there's a couple things I shot years ago when I was out at restaurants having a bite to eat or something. But our first after-hours Sheldon show, that got posted up yesterday morning. And we'll post a few things every now and then. We'll have it maybe twice, 3 times a week. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but that'll be the over there on our Locals. The way you find that is right down around there. There is a red oval button that says Join. That's the one you need to pump. Thank you for popping by. We really appreciated that. And we're out of here. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and I'll see you for the Friday edition tomorrow.